All right. Well, it looks like Blue came out of their hold, guys. So let's see what we got. They're showing. They're doing a practice astronaut. Basically, this is a dress rehearsal for astronauts being on board New Shepard, the NS-15 launch. So I'm just gonna get that audio right in here.
They're in that vehicle, Patrick, with our
and let's just
crew member
let's
7,
go. See what we got.
Photography team.
Ferd.
And today there will be 4 astronauts. You see there we have 2 crew member 7s. One Kevin Sprague, and the one there in the blue suit, that's Sarah Knight. One is always with the team, and the other is Capcom. So Sarah, as you saw there, she's going to be our Capcom for the day. She will be in the ear of our astronauts throughout their entire journey.
Yeah, that's right, Ariane. And there we see the team here. They just sort of circled that bend going past the barn, and now they're on their way over to the launch pad. This is what we call the road to space. It's this beautiful long straight road, about 2 miles, and in the backdrop there you would have New Shepard. I wonder, Ariane, if you were in that car right now, and let's say going up at this
Morning, everybody.
rocket getting bigger and bigger, how would you be feeling?
I mean, I've said it many times. I wanted to go to space since I was a little girl, and I imagine that our future customers, astronaut customers, will also have had that feeling. And so you're in that car, and
they always have to put the webcast people behind me.
And your crewmates and the rocket, and that's
Every
it in
time.
this big,
Every time.
vast Texas
Every time.
desert. And you are on your way towards fulfilling this childhood dream. I mean, I tried to throw some words out there, but really there are no words. I actually think that there's going to be so much adrenaline pumping through it. You're going to be experiencing more than, actively engaging in the moment.
You're absolutely right. And for me, I think I would also have just a bit of a, sereneness and sense of calm as you see this just landscape go by and seeing this rocket get bigger, and you're like, wow, this is happening.
Yeah, this is happening.
No, they're not sending people up. They're doing a rehearsal for that.
There they are zipping by. It is about they're away from one of our crew members. They're getting psyched, as they should. Now, this is it's about a 2-mile road from the barn out to the
3.2 kilometers
out to the launch pad. Once the vehicle makes it out to the pad, they're actually going to go to the north side of what we call the ring road that goes around the pad, and they're going to stop for a team photo. That should be pretty fun.
Bird. Seriously, that's like an $80,000 truck right
and
there.
And as they're doing that, Patrick, maybe we should get into finish up
freaking
on
full-size
the timeline
expedition.
That we were describing
and that thing's hooked
earlier
up
of what's going to be happening here. So they've left the astronaut training center. They've driven out to the pad here. They're going to take their photo. After the photo, they're going to
it's a pretty nice truck, Bill.
The tower, climb those stairs, the set of stairs at the base of the tower, and they're going to go into that white shelter that you see.
I mean, it's a nice truck, Thomas.
At the top of the towers, that is the safety shelter. And they're going to wait for the tower crew to give them the thumbs up to load into the capsule.
Dude, honestly, if it was me, I'd have my astronauts go into the pad in like 67 Corvettes. I'm not even kidding. Like, if I had a company and this was the case, there would be a driver and an astronaut, and if there was 4 astronauts, there'd be 4 Corvettes. No joke. And I'm saying that as a Ford guy, right? There's not going to be people on this one. This is the rehearsal. They would be in Generation 3 or C3 Corvettes and just yeah, they'd be in Corvettes. That's look, I'm a Ford guy, but Corvette's a car for astronauts, man. Race down the transport road? No. Maybe a Ford GT if we wanted to throw a Mark IV in there. That'd be good too. But astronauts drive Corvettes, man. And I'm saying that. I'll say that as a Ford guy. I don't care.
Fair enough. I'll give you that one. That would be a pretty sweet money shot. All right, so they have finished their...
After landing, these people will get back into the capsule and the hatch will be closed and they will practice post-landing operations. Yeah. Guys, this is basically the final rehearsal for them to do crew missions. That's when they would go up into the tower and ingress in, but they're just going to drive away now. What do you want us to do? All right, we need you to go out to the pad, stand next to the rocket so we can take a picture of you, get back in the truck, and then leave. Okay. Where is the launch pad? This is in Van Horn. This is in Van Horn, Texas. Way out in West Texas. What the hell? What? Oh. I was like, wait, what are they doing? I agree, Hellfish.
Thank you again, everybody, for joining us live for New Shepard's 15th flight to space. We are T-minus 37 minutes and 40 seconds to go until launch.
It's a suborbital tourism rocket.
We're in the middle of our astronaut rehearsal. Again, we're taking our stand-in astronauts, 4 Blue Origin employees, through our entire astronaut experience, and they will experience everything today that our astronaut customers will, minus the flight to space. The point today, of course, to weave in the astronaut operations on top of normal launch operations, which is critical to overall safe operations once we get into having customers on board today.
Absolutely.
Now, Patrick, why don't we pick it up? We talked about the timeline.
I think so, Draco.
They are ascending the stairs as we called out earlier. What happens next?
Yeah, so once they go up and they get out of that white shelter there that we see, they're going to cross the gantry and actually get into the capsule. 2 of them are going to do that. And once they're actually settled in there, they're going to get strapped in. Crew member 7 is going to help them in. They're actually going to do a communications test with our Capcom or Capsule Communications. They're going to check to make sure we hear each other okay. And then we're going to do a simulated hatch closing. We're going to close the hatch, not latch it. Then we're going to, after a few moments, we're going to reopen the hatch.
I want pancakes, Tom.
We're going to exit the capsule or egress, and then we're going to go back to a normal launch profile, so to speak, and to prep New Shepard for launch.
And Patrick, today, so while we have 4 stand-in astronauts going through this rehearsal today, only 2 of them are going to be getting into the capsule. Do you want to explain to us why that is?
Absolutely. So, as you know, we have 6 seats in our New Shepard crew capsule, so we can take 6 astronauts up into space. Now, today, we have Mannequin Skywalker taking yet again another flight up into space. And the next 3 seats next to him are actually filled with boxes full of postcards from Club for the Future to take up into space and bring on those back. And so with all those seats, essentially we only have 2 seats open, so that's why we're only going to have 2 of those astronauts actually go into the capsule.
Those are the maintenance valves. You can tell they're maintenance valves because of the way that they are.
Here now the astronauts have entered, the stand-in astronauts have entered into the safety shelter there. You see Kevin Sprague, our crew member 7 on the right. We're going to get to know Kevin Sprague and Sarah Knights, our first Blue Origin crew member 7s, in just a bit here. You might recognize Gary Lai on the left from earlier in our video today.
Absolutely. And Ariane, so these, our 4 stand-ins right now are in what we call our safety shelter. And, this room is a climate-controlled room where astronauts can do their final preparations like you see right now, get their briefing.
I don't know, nuclear.
Kevin.
Yeah, it's weird.
And this also serves as a safety stop in case, there's any issue on the pad. The astronauts and the team can safely stay in this shelter until the situation is resolved. Of course, if our stand-ins or astronauts are in the capsule itself, they can, quickly egress, make it across the gantry, and get into that shelter, and where they can wait out any issues at all. So, that room is quite multi-purpose there, as you can tell.
Right. Well, let's continue to watch here the operations inside the safety shelter. Looks like they are leaving the shelter.
That's right. So what you're going to see here is about an 8-minute-long process of actually loading the 2 astronauts there into the capsule.
The rocket isn't.
Like we said, we're going to simulate the hatch closing with the 2 stand-ins inside.
I don't know what you want me to say to that,
Can you
Cajun.
tell us about the two folks that are actually going to be going in here to this capsule today?
Sure. So in the foreground, you just saw our photographer Joel Eby, who is preceding them. Got to catch some sweet photos, of course, of our astronauts as they head out there. So here we have Susan Knapp, Gary Lai, Audrey Powers, and in the back there we've got Clay Morey and Kevin Sprague, our crew member 7. So we're the 4 astronauts plus the photographer and our crew member 7 have made their way obviously closer to the rocket. As you mentioned, only 2 of the stand-in astronauts are going to go into the capsule today. We've got, again, Mannequin Skywalker. You can see him.
Right
He's
there.
already locked and loaded, ready for his flight to space. And 3 payload lockers that will be taking postcards from Club for the Future up. But we are soon to see Gary Lai. You heard from Gary a little bit earlier.
It's not crewed. They're going to get in, they're going to seal the capsule, and then they're going to get out
years,
and then launch the
we
rocket.
call him the architect of New Shepard. So it's quite moving for all of us here at Team Blue to watch him ascend the tower and get inside of the capsule that he designed. Audrey, who you just saw step into the capsule there, she
No,
is
this
one
is
of the
live right
leaders
now.
of our legal team and is a big part of all of the operations that we conduct here at Blue. But, you know, in particular, Patrick, we talk a lot about the engineering that goes into the design and the manufacturing and the operations, et cetera. But there's an important legal component that goes into it too. In particular, there's a lot of interaction that we've had over years with the
Is the
FAA.
rocket fueled? I don't think
And
so.
Our point of contact is Audrey Powers.
I mean, maybe.
So to add to her, rock star resume, she's also a pilot, no big deal, and the first female chair of the Commercial Spaceflight Federation. So really, really neat. She's had some incredible impact on space legislation and policy in some major ways, for the whole entire commercial space industry. I do want to do a special little shout out to her
It's fueled?
niece, Genesee.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. Yeah, we're
She's
30 minutes out. Yeah, it has to
Blue
be.
Origin, one of our Club for the Future members. So, hey, Genesee, good morning. And another shout out to Gary's kids, Anna and Alec. They are all potential future astronauts with us. So hopefully taking the footsteps behind their older family members. So why don't we continue to take a look here for our astronaut experience.
Yeah, Phil,
rehearsal.
look,
It is
the
continuing.
vent
We
line.
have these
See the
standing
vent line right there, the
astronauts
LOX vent
in
line, just to the right of the
capsule.
fin over there. Yeah, oh, I guess she's good to go. That frame, guys, is so they don't. That frame is so they don't scratch up the finish on where the hatch is. I don't think I need to say why you don't want that. You don't want like a dent in that or scratch anywhere on the part where you have to seal the capsule. You need to ensure a good mating surface there, so they have a protector for it. They're not gonna go, but they are rehearsing here. There are no such issues with airplane hatches. What's the difference? This isn't an airplane? Does that look like an airplane to you? No, Cajun. New Shepard is not an orbital rocket. It goes up and it comes right back down.
Thank you again, everybody, for joining us today. We're at T-minus 29 minutes to go until launch. A very exciting day for us here at Blue Origin. This is New Shepard's 15th flight to space and our first astronaut experience dress rehearsal combined with a launch. We should note again, no astronauts will be going to space today, but this is really a critical step in our march for first human flight. Now,
I'm pretty sure the next one is going to have people on it, guys.
Standard astronauts, Blue Origin employees Gary Lai and Audrey Powers are in the capsule.
Gary Powers!
And it looks like the simulated
the U2
hatch
pilot
closing is about to get underway. Let's keep an eye on our screen for that.
Sounds good. And Ariane, I think right now what they're doing is the actual communications check. So they're talking with mission control and the other astronauts in the safety shelter using their push to talk. They're just confirming all of these checks. And as you pointed out, after we complete those checks, that's when we're going to close the hatch, but not latch it, because we are going to have to take those Gary and Audrey out as much as we want to stay in there.
Yeah.
Nuclear, you asked, did SpaceX ever put people in a Dragon capsule, then have them leave, then launch the rocket? Demo 2 scrub, does that help?
This is his flight again today.
Hey, Boom Boom.
So again, in the capsule, we
have Signer, I'm going to guess that just because that capsule, the door is small. Like an airplane hatch, you can make like handy capable. The thing's huge. That, and I just don't think anybody wants to hit their head on that aluminum. That probably would hurt. Hitting it on the blunt side of that. That would suck. Are you playing Minecraft later? No, I'm not. Just because you asked, I'm going to play Tarkov instead. Gary Powers played with U2 before Bono. Yeah, he was their lead singer. Yeah. Might not even be all that blunt. I wouldn't want to hit my head on that sign nerd. I don't know about you. Yeah, Tom, and before The Edge was the guitarist, I think John Lennon was the lead guitarist for U2 before the I'm sorry, I can't say that with a straight face, man. Hitting your head on the doorframe is a rite of passage. Well, I hit my head on the hood of the truck yesterday. Does that help? That's still kind of raw up there. I would hit my head on that every time. Keeson, yeah, I wouldn't be able to fit in this thing. I'd be like, it'd be like going through a submarine hatch in there. When Lennon and Stalin played together, that was cool. I don't think they were playing music, man. I think they were playing a different game. Never do that again. Second flight for the capsule. Second flight for this propulsion section. Cool. You'd be like, what? Huh? I don't know, Zelda. I don't know what you're talking about. Does the capsule go through immense atmospheric pressure? Why is there no step on the top of the capsule?
Thank you again, everybody, for joining us live.
It's a nose cone?
5 minutes to go until launch.
Like the...
Our crew experience.
I'm fairly confident that up here is a nose cone, and then there's a bulkhead for the pressure vessel right here. I think.
Let's talk about the flight profile of the rocket. Once we finish the
I don't think the dome, like there isn't a dome in here. There's a nose cone up there.
Discovery,
but that's just a guess, guys. I don't know.
For New Shepard to enjoy the rest of her day, which includes a flight to space, which will go.
This one is not crewed. The next one will be though. Sparrow, King. Sparrow, 27-month resub. Sorry, thinking too fast.
The crew capsule up towards space at 75 kilometers, or about 250,000 feet. The two vehicles will separate and continue their ascent to their respective apogees. The booster will.
Is this a Hydrolox booster? Yep.
Which is over the Kármán line, over the international.
We will get internal.
It will come back down.
We will get internal views.
On our landing pad, just 2 miles north of the launch pad. The
aren't the parachutes there? I'm fairly confident that yeah, maybe the mortars are there for the parachutes, so that's probably why you don't want to step on that. That's probably that. You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, Phil, that probably has something to do with it. If the mortars are the chutes, the mortars are there for the chutes. I'm pretty sure you don't want to, step on that. It's like That would be like stepping on a shotgun shell. Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Well, absolutely. And
I noticed that they added these windbreakers here on the edge of the crew access tower.
Big parachutes.
I don't know if those were there last time.
Moments, we have the retro thrust system that fires and creates.
Yeah, there it is, Thomas. Yeah, you don't want to step up there.
For a nice soft landing.
It's a nose cone.
Into our valley here, back in the desert. So we're at T-minus 24 minutes and 51 seconds.
I see what you did there, Galadis.
We were in a brief hold. I understand we'll be emerging from the hold here shortly, while the team is continuing to do its various checks, communications checks.
Havocs, don't do that again.
Systems that are in there. Again, this is the first time that we've had stand-in astronauts, people on top of.
Yeah, Tessa, I don't want to do that either.
Rocket. And again, we will not be flying them to space, but we're
put
doing
Steve-O in there.
But today.
He'd probably fly on it. I'd probably fly on it with him. I'd be like, let's go, Steve-O.
Into the capsule to get some last-minute photos of Gary Lai and Audrey Powers there.
Yeah.
As we can see, yeah, we did the.
Ariane Cornell misspoke a second ago. The woman that's on the webcast, she misspoke and she said Gary Powers. You know you're an aviation nutcase when you make that mistake. Nice. Gary Powers.
All that egress, and then
he's a U2 pilot.
Their cars and mission
Discovery.
Element Space. 36-month resub. All right, so now they're gonna pop out.
Would not happen because, of course, our astronauts would be going to space.
That's right, Space Dive.
That is right. So we just saw
Tier
Gary
3, 36
and
months,
Audrey,
man. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
The capsule there. Our crew on the tower is just going to do some last checks before they close the hatch for real.
Make sure nobody's stowing away.
Yeah, exactly. Make sure there are no stowaways. There's
Wasn't
Audrey
Gary
and
arrested a bit ago? Francis Gary Powers was arrested by someone. It just wasn't in this country.
Re-entering the safety shelter there, where they met up with the other two stand-in astronauts.
That's right, Revel.
Susan Knapp. Obviously having a good time. Getting so close to flying people here at Blue Origin. Again, this is a
That's
very,
right.
very important
They just got the practice crew out.
Step on our march to first human flight. You can almost taste it, Patrick.
There's also that Hell Hydra. Yep.
Sounds like they're recapping their great experience there and what they got to do in the capsule and all those tests.
Dawson,
Man,
how are you?
so
Human, how are you?
And again, can you imagine Gary Lai, the gentleman in the bottom right corner of your screen? He's been at Blue Origin since the very beginning.
So we're in a little bit of a hold here. Blue Origin, what they were doing here is practicing crew ingress and egress. They were they got the crew in the practice crew in the capsule, and these are just Blue Origin engineers. They got them in the capsule, and they didn't seal it, but they practiced how people would get into the capsule, and now they got out, and now they're all gonna leave, and then they're gonna go to launch the rocket. The rocket is fueled, from what I understand. Boris, I believe this is the second flight for the capsule. I think that's what folks in chat were saying. And the capsule has flown twice and the booster's flown once. No venting. It's hydrogen, and there is a LOX vent, hypersonic. Capsule flown is once before, okay. In the old days, they would have sent up a dog, I suppose. We don't send up dogs unless you speak Ruski. We sent up the chimpanzee. Is this taking place in Texas? Taking place. This is in Van Horn, Texas. So yeah, it's in West Texas. Leitka was the name of the dog that the Soviet Union flew into space, and then the U.S. launched Ham. Why does Blue Origin get windows, but SpaceX had to scrap them?
15th mission to space. We are at T-minus 24 minutes
Well,
and 51
SpaceX's
seconds.
capsule spends a lot more time in
We are
space
in a
than this
brief
thing.
hold here, but so far we have had
The rocket's
what appears
designed
to
for a
be
different purpose,
successful
guys.
Astronaut rehearsal. Let's stand by.
Steamed ham? No, not steamed hammed. Word on the street is the dog had a bad time. Yeah, that was a bad idea. Ham, we got Ham back, though. Ham actually lived for like 30 years after his flight into space. Pretty cool. It can't be Texas. There's not enough guns. Geeson, do you think people just walk around in Texas with just guns slinged on their back?
We have cleared the whole.
Is that what you think? They're concealing it, man.
Discovery, go at
It's
throttle
on the
up.
back hip. I mean, some people do, and you know what? That's totally okay. It would be concealed, though. No, yeah, that's pretty much right. But it depends on where you are in Texas. If you're in the city, not so much.
Excuse me, our tower crew, of course. They are
No,
again,
Dan.
closing the hatch.
Leica didn't survive
Soon,
re-entry.
Kevin will rejoin the
And there's no
astronauts
T,
in the
it's
safety
Leica.
shelter, and they are going
Didn't
to
she-
make their way
she didn't survive
down
re-entry.
the stairs and back to mission control so they can watch the launch along with the rest of us.
That's weird, human. But alright. I know, Nova. Anyway. Let's see. Let's see what we got here. I know, Hellfish. It was a joke, but that's okay. I heard Blue Origin is going to design a nuclear spacecraft for the government. They got a contract to mess with nuclear propulsion systems, Elias. Yeah. Yeah, guys, they're doing seal checks. I don't think I need to say why you'd want it to be sealed. What's the turnaround time for get a rocket ready to fly again? I think they've turned a New Shepard around in like a month or something. What's the aim of this launch? It's going to go up and come right back down. You guys are looking at New Shepard. New Shepard is a suborbital tourist rocket. It goes up to about 100 kilometers, give or take. Separates the capsule.
Again, thank you everybody for
Booster
joining
comes
us
back
live
down and
for
lands, and the
Shepard's
capsule
15th
parachutes.
Flight to space. We have so far had a successful astronaut
There's no
experience
people on board
rehearsal.
this one,
We just saw the
but
tower crew
there probably is people
closing
coming up on the
hatch
next one.
For real. We had earlier our
Blue Origin does have a contract with NASA to do suborbital astronaut training here with this rocket, but it's not right now. They had a practice crew right there, and the practice crew will ingress into the capsule, and then they brought them out, and they'll be leaving the pad very soon.
We had Sarah Knights, who was on Capcom. We saw them waving to our
I don't know,
astronauts at the
Forge,
last
yeah,
moment there as
because they
headed
wanted
out
to.
towards the rocket. But why don't we take a little closer look at their roles and specifically meet Kevin and Sarah? Let's check it out.
Yes, let's.
The entire vision of Blue Origin is we want to democratize space.
T-10.
You don't need to be a NASA astronaut. You don't need to be a trained engineer.
5,
We want artists and poets and
20,
teachers and scientists to be able to go to space.
1. New Shepard has cleared the tower.
Crew member 7 is a position unique to Blue. 2 assigned to each launch. There are 6 people that can fly in our crew capsule. The 7th person is the crew member 7.
This is for real.
The other crew member 7 is called Capsule Communicator, and they represent all of mission control and launch operations to the astronauts.
It took me a long road to get here. I spent over 20 years as a fighter pilot at the United States Navy, but since I've been 8 years old, I wanted to be in space. Coming here to Blue Origin is the realization of a childhood dream of mine.
So my background is in physics and astronomy. I went into STEM education. I was a teacher for many years. And when the position opened up at Blue, I knew that was me. The fact that I'm...
Oh, I'd do it, Dan.
seven
Sure.
in the
Absolutely. It's a really safe capsule.
of our entire team. It's such an honor.
You're expected to start hearing the noise. Crew member 7 is part teacher, part trainer, and part guide.
They're embedded with the astronauts. They're truly a member of the crew.
They're going to live with you at the astronaut village, conduct all of your astronaut training.
Spaceflight is
Sorry.
complicated, but our astronauts that fly with us will not need to have a complicated view of what's happening. The rocket is autonomous, and all of the safety systems
Parachute
are
mortars, Neo.
hardwired into the core.
On launch day, crew member 7 is actually going to walk you up the tower, put you in your seat in the capsule, close the hatch. Capsule Capcom.
The Capcom will then take over as the astronauts take their journey.
Did you live? Oh,
And then as soon as they land, crew member 7 will be there to help open the hatch and whisk them away to the celebration. Our astronauts are one part of a very historic journey.
We're trying to build the infrastructure to get millions of people living and working in space.
So the people who come here will truly be helping us take that first step.
Clearly, Patrick, these astronauts are in very capable hands with Kevin and Sarah. Not just capable, but they are experienced and extraordinarily passionate about space and everything that we do at Blue Origin.
Absolutely.
Now, this is, I don't know about you, but this is quite surreal to watch. Again, we are getting very close to sending people up to space and back. And I hope that there are students around the world that get to see events like this and are inspired to pursue careers in space. Patrick, I know you and I, it was more shuttle era, watching the shuttle go up. And I hope that we're a key part of inspiring the next generation. And everybody at Blue is. So much so that we founded Club for the Future. This is our nonprofit that has been hard at work since 2019. And as you know, we launch postcards from around the globe in New Shepard.
Dude, I'd fly on this. Sure, why not? I'd probably fly on Virgin Orbit too. Or Virgin Galactic. Virgin Orbit would probably be one heck of a ride. But...
STEM education, including Microsoft education.
Yeah, I'd fly on that. Your boy's kind of an adrenaline
so
junkie.
Take a closer look at these partnerships and all things Club for the Future.
I don't know what to tell you.
At Club for the Future, we get to inspire youth to really give them that connection and love for space. Club for the Future has a superpower where we get to literally tap into rocket scientists, aerospace architects, and people who are not only dreaming the future, but they're out there building it.
How about getting to the pad on a motorcycle? I do that too.
Send a postcard to space. All 7 continents and well over 100 countries have participated. And so that little moment where they realize this postcard has taken that journey that they're going to have the opportunity to take also one day, it clicks, and they're hooked. Club's been fortunate over this past year to have some really amazing partnerships. One is Project Llanos.
Students need to have their curiosity sparked so they can fall in love with human spaceflight and why it's not in the future, it's today. Let's look at the past, the present, and the future of. So for the past, it's the Apollo legends. For the present, we're looking at Artemis. And then for the future, the vision that Blue has set for human spaceflight. And that's why Club for the Future and Project Llanos has real potential to have a positive impact on the world.
Another one is Microsoft Education Day of Data.
We are preparing these students for these future careers, fundamental skills.
I
like
mean, how, bro?
thinking, problem solving, competition.
80% chance of survival. Space flight's actually way safer than that, dude. And it has to. The thing has to be on paper at least like 99.9% survivable. Seriously, the margins are that tight. Well, you can't screw around with this stuff.
Club for the Future is proud to be supporting Challenger Center. They've not only implementing the Postcard to Space program, but Club for the Future most recently has been helping build a virtual mission called Destination Moon, where they put kids right in the seat of mission control, taking the New Glenn to the moon.
The teachers have told us that they're loving it. The students are loving it. They're going to be the ones exploring Mars and Moon. They're going to be the ones.
The practice crew is now leaving the pad. 15 minutes out.
I can just think of one word: hope. I see this entire generation that's going to be part of something far, far bigger than I am.
Great. No, it was so cool to see
Bird!
all the work that the club is doing.
That's a big truck,
inspiring. And there what we just see on
it's
our
a big
screen,
truck.
our stand-in astronauts have descended the tower, gotten in the vehicle, and they're heading back to mission control. That's where they're going to be watching the actual launch and landing from, and then they're going to go out to the landing site after that to continue the essentially the back end part of the astronaut.
Yeah, I got you, bro, for sure. I'd be in, dude.
So as we've
like I
been
said,
talking
I'm a little bit of an adrenaline junkie.
And all things
I really like stuff like this. It's fun.
I want to highlight that there's a
Hey, Flight Sim. An Expedition, bro. It's like an $80,000 truck. What are you talking about?
Helping their local community, especially as part of that recent unfortunate Texas winter storm. We caught up with him to hear about how he's been helping his community, as well to talk a little bit about what it's like being an ambassador for Club for the Future. So let's go hear it from Beckett Potter's own
Alex,
words.
Check it out.
I'll answer that question later, man. Ask that question again, like during Space News or something. I'll tell you the differences.
I know I was 4 years old, and I asked my dad to look at the website and sign up for your newsletter. And I've been watching your videos, and I've seen every single launch that I've known about. Really love the Club
probably
for the
human.
Future, and your program to send public messages to space is brilliant. You're really making
Fair
space so
victory.
accessible to kids. And I drew a shepherd on my postcard here.
Bullet.
Yes, so we're working with the Lukumi Foundation, and they're all about making a difference for their own lives and help others using good deeds. And we invite any kids to join worldwide. So my idea with Blue Origin and Lukumi is to collaborate with Club for the Future to make the postcards to send in space. And we are going to put positive and inspirational messages on the cards. And instead of having them returned back to yourself, we're going to send them to someone else. It'll be great. In fact, even out of this world.
It's not me. It's making puns.
No,
That
although
ain't
I'd
me.
just like to say, if you ever
Discovery,
need
no
a
throttle up.
junior correspondent for New Shepard, I'm your kid. Go Team Blue. Murata dance for Rocher.
Referral.
Oh my God, what an adorable and inspiring kid.
Beckett, you should just take my seat. Although I'm sure the Ellen Show has already called him. We've lost our moment. All right. Well, so as we're talking about Club for the Future, I do want to talk about another initiative from the club, which involves our buddy Mannequin Skywalker, who's on board today. You want to talk to us a little bit about that, Patrick?
Absolutely. I love talking about Mannequin the next adventure. So Blue Origin is going to be donating Mannequin Skywalker to the U.S. Space and Rocket Center, which is home, of course, to one of our key partners, Space Camp. So we're also going to be donating one of the New Shepard seats. And so with Mannequin and the seat, I think we can tell a great story about sort of that path to flight and really tell students how, Mannequin essentially helped the New Shepard program and human spaceflight. So I think that could be a great way to, actually see it there.
Absolutely agree.
And if we go to a little bit more detail sort of on that story, one of the cool things about these mannequins is that in many ways they're similar to the kind used by first responders
Now we're talking.
in rescue training. So there we see mannequin, actually in
That'd be
New
one
Shepard
hell of a view.
capsule, in space. Gosh, I'm sure he wants to be floating around up there. And so
he's taking in the zen of space,
there you
Patrick.
go.
That's what he's doing.
You and I would not be zen up
No.
there. But these mannequins mimic the weight, form, and center of gravity and the range of motion.
About
of the
that,
human
Zelter,
body.
yeah.
So it allows us to actually test the weight and CG and
Discovery,
balance
go
in
at
a
throttle up.
capsule, just like we would be if we were flying real people. And so that mannequin that's going to be flying today is
What do you
actually
mean,
the same
Reveril?
one that flew on the last mission.
That's
with
like
those
53
Space
months.
Camp astronaut
Right.
wings pinged to the flight suits. It's going to be really cool to see all of that kind of make its way back home.
Very cool indeed. I can't wait to see Mannequin at the
He doesn't
Space
look too
Rocket
impressed.
Center in
What, me
Alabama
furious?
soon.
It's because I want to watch the rocket launch, man. That was a replay.
Okay, we're at
I want to watch the rocket go, man.
45 seconds to go until New
hold.
Shepard's 15th
Enter to
launch
hold.
to space, although I do notice
Well
here
then.
that we have gone into a brief hold.
Very
So why
poor
don't we check
timing
out
on my
New Shepard
part.
on the pad as she gets ready for her flight.
Furious, you jinxed us. Oh, no, Skywalker. Oh, okay. Did you just call me a dummy? No, I'm just kidding. What's that, JW? That is the JW. What? The hell? That just happened? Just happened? Oh my god. Okay.
Thank you again, everybody, for joining us live for New Shepard's
Thank you, Ariane.
15th launch to space. We're at T-minus 45 seconds to go until launch. Another countdown to another what should be exciting launch. We are in a hold at the moment, but while we've got a little bit of time left, we did want to bring you up to speed on some progress with our New Glenn vehicle development down in Florida. New Glenn, of course, is our orbital rocket, the successor to New Shepard, our suborbital rocket. We're investing in building a state-of-the-art facility
Please
down
show.
in the Cape. It is beautiful. You were just down there last week.
That's
right?
correct, Ordon, yep.
And we're testing flight operations with a giant Stage 1 simulator, producing flight hardware and growing the integration and test facilities down there on our campus. Now, why don't we check out the recent progress for our New Glenn rocket factory at Cape Canaveral
Show new footage.
Caitlin Dietrich.
Hi everyone, I'm Caitlin Dietrich reporting here from Florida Space Coast in front of New Glenn's rocket factory and growing campus. Let's go. Scott, thank you for having us today. Tell us a little bit about the New Glenn rocket factory.
The campus here in Florida is about 1 million square feet. We currently have over 550 people on site, and we've been growing significantly. We've just entered the high bay, the centerpiece of the factory. Raw stock aluminum comes in one end of the factory to our south, and a rocket moves out to the north.
Take a look at this thing. It's so cool to see New Glenn's first stage like this, just mocked up.
With 180 feet, we're going to be towing something that's close to a football field in length, and it's also 23 foot in diameter.
No, that's a Pathfinder, guys. That's
today.
Basically, they're gonna use that to test out like how to move the booster around and stuff. It's a mock-up.
And this is where
It's
we're
only a model.
fabricating them right next door, right?
That's right. This is one of our busiest shops right now, and the team can work on both the forward face, and another part of the team can be behind on the back face. Then they'll go out, be assembled to form that forward and aft module of the New Glenn first stage. You know, these mills that we make these
What does
parts
that mean,
on,
Thomas?
We're doing things on a scale that has not been done before.
It looks like we have a lot of hardware here on the floor.
Yeah, I love this part of the factory. I mean, we're building domes, we're building barrels, and now we're ready to move into the flight hardware production stage.
We're inside the dome.
So imagine we're at the top of the stage 2 tank. Below us is a full first stage and second stage New Glenn rocket, over 200 feet. And we're now entering our composite hub. This is where our payload fairing, one of our other big elements of New Glenn, is made. This 7-meter payload fairing offers twice the volume of anything flying today. So when you're a payload customer, when you see this, you think, I can put a huge satellite in there, or I can put a whole bunch of small to medium satellites in there and really take advantage of the capability that New Glenn brings to the mix.
Very exciting, the operations that it's been fun to watch it kind of mushroom out of the swampy area down there in Florida, just to see this entire campus that we have built. Again, we are the first organization that is going to be building the rocket.
Yeah, so I'm told, Doxy.
So that should be coming up in a couple of years here. That's going to be very exciting. Now, as part of that orbital launch site and general facility campus that we're building there, we have something called the TCAT, or the Tank Cleaning and Testing Facility. We use this facility to pressure test and clean New Glenn stages before flight. And this massive building that we're about to show you is being used for the fully reusable first stage, which stands 180 feet tall. To give you some context, that's about 3 times the size of New Shepard just in the first stage. So why don't we take a look at this facility?
We're standing in front of the tank cleaning and testing facility for New Glenn on the Rocket Factory campus, about 230 feet tall. We're going to head into the building and get to know this facility and all the capabilities it gives us. So this door right here opens, and essentially the first stage of New Glenn will come in, and this large crane above our head will lift the vehicle up into this fixture right here. This is where the rocket will be when we do the pressure testing. Once the rocket is vertical on this fixture, we use tie downs right here to secure the vehicle. So you can see here we're only on the 3rd floor, and I feel like I've been in this elevator for about 10 years. So we just got into the TCAP at about the same
named after John
level
Glenn, Mad Cobra.
as the top of New Glenn's first stage. And I just took a quick peek over this railing, and I gotta tell you, this is going to be a massive rocket. So we're climbing just the rest of the stairs to the top of the tower. I feel like I'm standing on New Glenn's first stage. Woohoo! And one thing that's so evident when you're looking down on almost this New Glenn city and our launch site in the port, we really have something unique here. There's no other facility on the Cape where you build the rocket, you fly it, you bring it back, and you fly it again.
They're expanding that facility too, like big time. It's about double the size from that footage.
Super exciting. And you know, we've talked about it a lot on previous webcasts, but I think it's worth bringing up again. There's been so much value already out of this New Shepard program. Well, we haven't flown people yet, although as today is a testament to, we are
should be about the
very
same,
close
Toto,
to flying people to space. But taking the lessons from the design of New Shepard, the operations of New Shepard, the spaceflight operations of New Shepard,
I mean,
as well as the
just on a side
refurbishment
note,
of the
fellas,
vehicles
I've met Arian
themselves,
and Caitlin.
and
They're actually really
into
cool.
Glenn
Really
has
cool. I
been,
had the pleasure of talking to
it's
them a little
almost
while
like
back.
It catapults you. It's a it's a trampoline
This was
to the next
pre-pandemic
level,
times,
which is
like
why
way
we've
before
already
the
started
pandemic.
New Glenn.
It was back in
Absolutely,
2017.
Aaron. I mean, essentially all
They're
of
space-
the learnings
they're space
we've had
nutcases.
from this great vehicle have already been applied. You see it sort of in the design, everything from how we lay out the stages, the tank designs, everything from how we manufacture the tanks with friction stir welding. You know, all of these things we've learned on New Shepard, and now we're applying on New Glenn. But you know, to your point, it's at a 3 to 5x scale, right? Which is kind of has.
I don't know, MC.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the parallels between the first stage of New Glenn and the booster on New Shepard?
Yeah, no, it's a great analogy there. So you actually see a lot of the similar design there, which is really interesting. So we have the same, essentially the same aerodynamic surfaces there, right? So with the strakes and the fins, we have them on New Shepard on the propulsion module. Same thing on the GS1 on the first stage of New Glenn. They just happen to be much larger. I mean, you and I can probably carry the fin of a New Shepard, whereas the one on the first stage of New Glenn is actually the size of the wing of an F-16.
And to be clear, we call it a fin. We call it, actually internally, we call it a strake. It effectively acts like a wing.
Yeah.
Right? Because at 180 feet long, it's effectively, it's kind of like an airplane, right? And we want to have lift on the vehicle to be able to fly it back and
Let me see, Phil.
get it back onto our landing ship that will be underway when it comes into land.
Absolutely. So those fins and strakes allow us to get a lot of stability,
Discovery,
both
go at throttle up.
directionally, rotationally, and it gives us a lot of the ability to go downrange to land. So
Interesting.
a New Shepard allows us to kind of come
Stunt
back
man.
and precision land on the pad.
Right.
With New Glenn, we're going to be landing downrange on a moving ship. So by having all of these aerodynamic structures and having all of that design heritage on how to design
They're in a
the
hold
pad
right now,
using our
Kim.
flight
They're
control
not
systems,
saying why.
it allows us to land with a lot of precision downrange without having to use a lot of propulsive maneuvers to essentially, use up all that fuel to kind of land. So lots of great learning from there. A lot of our learning around how we actually land. I mean, Gary sort of spoke to it, right? Our ability to kind of
Guys, you gotta hold
hover
because we're not going to the
nice
moon.
And gentle there
Wait.
is extremely important. We want to be able
Wait.
to land
That's
precisely.
not how that works.
And all that throttle ability and guidance around landing, all developed on New Shepard, so we don't have to learn it again on New Glenn on something much bigger and much more hefty.
Hefty. I don't know what the rocket.
Thomas is gonna need some big cranes.
Well, we are at T-minus 10 minutes and 45 seconds to go until New Shepard's 15th launch to space and back. As we've mentioned before, hopefully you caught it as well. We had a successful astronaut experience rehearsal test for the pre-flight operations. Following the flight, those same stand-in astronauts will head out to the capsule once it comes back down, so we can practice some of those post-flight operations as well.
Nice.
But in the
I
meantime,
don't want to
we
get the
are in a
MCA
brief
though.
hold. We just want to make sure that our teams are getting aligned and we're all set for New Shepard's flight to space. So why don't we check out New Shepard while she's on the pad getting ready for her flight to space today.
Things are great, Joe. How are you? If you got stuff to do, go do it, man. Get her done. Get her done, boy. How high is suborbital? 100 kilometers for this one, Goose. Seven sixteenths. Nice. What is that, like? Actually, 7/16 is close to 10 mil. Think it'll launch within the next hour? Yes. There are cameras inside, Reveille, yes. I never lose 7/16 sockets, man. It's always half inch. Yeah. Yeah, if it was 10 mil, we'd never find it. This big, though. Neat.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
I don't know, Jim. I suspect they wouldn't. I'd suspect they'd want to get a New Glenn booster back on the first flight, so I'd assume they're just gonna have a landing attempt the first time, dude. But I don't know. Be money. We'll get to see Rocket Gal on the Rocket Guy stream yesterday. Really? Huh. Cool. I don't remember that part. I was watching for a good while, Tom. Is this the first fully reusable rocket? Yeah, pretty much.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us for New Shepard's
Airborne?
15th flight to space.
That is true. She does
10
exist.
minutes and
I didn't see
45
it.
seconds
Okay,
to
therefore
go
it didn't happen.
Until launch here, our team is just getting aligned on some last-minute issues. But while we've got a little bit of time here, I wanted to bring you up to speed on some recent progress that we've made on the BE-4 engine. We were just talking about New Glenn. You called it hefty.
This is live people, right?
It's big bones. Again, you know, don't offend the rocket. You're going to want it to work.
It's taken a lot of payload into space. That rocket is
no one's on board,
doing a
Airborne.
great job there.
Absolutely. It's a robust rocket.
You don't think they'll launch today?
We have been working on the BE-4 engines that are going to propel that rocket. There are going to be 7 BE-4 engines, Blue Engine 4s, and we've been successfully hot firing those engines
Appreciate it if you didn't
part of
jinx
a
it, Colton, but
test
that's all right.
program, and we've seen some long duration, full power burns on a regular basis from that engine.
Nice,
to
Red
date,
3.
we've accumulated over 11,000 seconds of test time. In addition, recently we delivered the first Pathfinder engines to our customer United Launch Alliance for their Vulcan Centaur rocket, which should be flying later this year. And I, for one, cannot wait to watch that rocket and those engines
The first socket, Red, you picked up was a...
Mock diamonds are certainly a thing of beauty, aren't they?
Yeah, they
Why
are.
don't we check out some of this footage from a recent BE-4
Hey.
test.
Well, this is nice.
There you go, Patrick. You can see the BE-4 engine testing. We actually have 2 test cells down there that are both up and firing, which is great because you can test on one engine, get your learnings, you know, adjust the hardware, and in parallel, you can be testing on the next test cell so you don't have a lot of downtime. So this engine here, this is a 550,000 pound of thrust engine. So that's 5 times the power of the BE-3 engine, the Blue Engine 3, which is powering New Shepard today. And there will be 7 of those. That means 3.85 million pounds of thrust on liftoff.
It does, Space Dive,
when
yes.
New Glenn blasts off from the Space Coast in a couple of years here. And again, as mentioned, we've had a lot of successful test firings on it, which is great. This is the first of this sort of liquefied natural
Probably
gas,
hellfish, I would
LNG,
guess so.
and liquid oxygen engine. Think of LNG like a commercial form of methane for those of you at home that are
Well,
less
I'll
familiar
tell you
with,
what, they should be
rocket
using some dang
propellants.
propane there,
And
boy.
so far, so good. And that LNG, actually, we should talk about that for a second.
Who's
we pulled it
LNG?
For a couple of reasons. For one thing, when you have a reusable rocket, you need
I know what you
reusable
mean,
rocket
Joe.
engines, which means you need to be able to bring the engines home and refurbish them quickly. And when you use that sort of clean propellant,
How's
you can
Bobby
get in
doing
there,
here?
there's
Bobby
not that
doing
kind of
just
nasty
fine.
coking and
I'll
other
tell
sort
you
of
what.
nasty things that come with other
Discovery,
types of
go and
propellant.
throttle up.
It's green.
Go, Pete.
So that's a good thing as well. And the
But
other
that
thing
rocket
about,
exhaust was blue.
about LNG, for you rocket nerds at home, you probably know this too, is that it allows us to autogenously pressurize the engine. What does that mean? It means that we can use that LNG to pressurize the lines in the rocket engine as opposed to bringing in what we use on other engines, or what others use on other engines, which is helium, which is good, it works, but the problem is it's quite expensive.
Did we know that
and sometimes
before?
Can be in kind of tricky supply. So.
Absolutely, and the great thing about LNG is that it's, you know,
I didn't know that
extremely
New Glenn
cheap.
was
It's the same,
autogenous
you know,
pressurization.
Very similar to the gas you use at home.
Is that
so,
known?
very
I don't think we
easy to
knew
get
that.
in and use for this. It
I don't remember them
keeps the
saying
costs
that.
low. The
But
other
hey,
great
good to
thing
know.
about it is because it's actually much denser than hydrogen, you can make that that first stage actually quite nice and compact.
I'm not
there.
sure,
You can
Roger.
pack a lot
Yeah,
of
it's a good
propellant
question.
into a small volume
Do you
and
do
be
any
able to
Tommy
get a
with
lot of
soy
payload out
impressions?
there
Yes,
into
that's
space.
right. I
Yeah,
do.
so we are,
I do.
we're very proud of this rocket engine that we've developed
Nice,
so far.
Sergio. Yeah, I know. I saw the poll. Nice.
I've enjoyed working with our partners at United Launch Alliance.
I didn't know that,
They'll be
human.
Using that rocket engine, they'll be using 2 of them on their Vulcan Centaur, so that should be really
I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that New
with
Glenn
that,
is
we're at
autogenously
10
pressurized.
minutes and 45
That's
seconds
pretty
to
cool,
go until
actually.
New Shepard's launch
It's good to
this
know.
morning. We are in a hold. Our teams are working to make sure that New Shepard can launch today. Also want to make sure that
I did not know
the
that.
weather
It's not
is,
true. I
within
did
bounds.
not.
You see, it is a bit hazy down there in Texas.
Oh, hi, New
We also,
Shepard.
of course, as
What's new with
always,
you?
watch the winds
How's your
aloft.
rocket life?
We've mentioned this before. You can't really tell down there because of the limited brush.
Oh, okay, username.
But
Nice.
it can be
Hey,
quite
Ismic,
windy.
what's going on?
So it's imperative that our team make sure that everybody, in terms the teams are aligned, but also the weather is.
We are in a
really
hold'll, guys.
So why don't we
we
check
got
out New
we
Shepard
got
here?
the launch pad has diamond hands. It's holding the rocket. How long is the launch window open today? Basically, they got all day because suborbital, dude. You got all day, Tom. This is like a Mercury Redstone flight. It's a similar, actually, it's a similar it's a similar flight profile to that, believe it or not. Only the Redstone, Mercury Redstone, the booster comes back, or the booster doesn't come back. This one, the booster comes back. That's what I meant to say. They're already away, MC. Yep. But you have to hold to go to the moon. No. Not with this, though. It's different. I think it's a safe assumption to say that the first stage of Vulcan is autogenously pressurized, too. Yeah, I guess that would be reasonable. Can I see the launch from Naval Air Station Fort Worth? Airborne, it's in El Paso. I doubt it. This is Van Horn, Texas, man. It's way out. It's way past, like, Odessa, Texas. It's way out there. Is it just suborbital? It is. Yeah. No wonder I don't understand stonks. Yeah, right? Someone said I could see it from Ontario. That someone doesn't understand how the world works. Someone's like, no, wasn't me. How far from Boca?
Joining us live.
Boca's even further away.
Shepard's 15th flight to space. We are in a hold here.
This is out in West Texas, guys. There's nothing out there.
Again, I'm Ariane Cornell here with my co-host, Patrick Zaituni. Now, while we've got a little bit of time, why don't we talk about another one of our programs that we have going on at Blue, our human landing system.
No problem,
Blue Moon
remember.
program.
Okay.
And it's part of NASA's human landing system program. And we have, we've based our activities for HLS, as we call it, down in Huntsville, Alabama, at our factory down there.
Yes,
and we've
hip-hop.
actually put a full-scale pathfinder
Muddy.
of our descent element lander in preparation of our demonstration mission to the lunar surface.
Okay, let's see what
This
we got.
mission is going to happen a year before landing crew on the moon.
That's
which,
true,
by the
someone,
way,
yeah.
I love saying those words. And by proving out our technology and pre-positioning equipment down there on the lunar surface, it's going to start America's sustainable return to the moon, and this time to stay. Let's check out this video.
One of the things that our team is doing is a demonstration flight of our descent element 1 year before we actually send humans down to the surface. And that provides an enormous amount of risk reduction. We get to practice. In Huntsville, we put together a full-scale pathfinder of the DE demo lander. We can test out.
Yeah, Phil, I don't
engine,
understand.
all the major subsystems, the whole propulsion system, the fluid system, the electrical power system, the fuel cells, avionics, the sensors, all of the things.
Oh, dude, that's
we
cool.
can send that lander and land it autonomously on the surface before the crew goes there. We can deliver all kinds of payloads. We can deliver a metric ton of stuff. We can pre-position
Cranes!
whatever you want it to.
Cranes!
Can
Yes!
begin to build up Artemis Space Camp. We're looking at several different ways of uploading.
Please do that.
This thing is a crane. And we've actually got a crane provided for us by Langley Research Center at NASA.
Oh.
We're also looking at a Dabbit system that's being developed by Honeybee.
Oh.
We're not standing still with the national team. We built this full-scale pathfinder of the DE demo mission in Huntsville
That's cool,
to enable
man.
long-term sustainability, getting America back to the moon, this time to stay.
Please.
It's so cool to watch that video. I mean, Patrick, we talk about this a lot. Step by step for
They do, Ismic.
Gradatum for Rossiter. That's our motto here at Blue.
I don't know what you're talking about, homing pigeon.
New Shepard leads into New Glenn, and from once then we're up in orbit. Where do we go from there? Like, hey, why don't we go to the moon, right? It's all part of this.
I mean, Rocket Guy, I would. I've always said national team should get picked. It's a very flexible architecture, if not complicated, but you can do a lot with it. That's why I like it.
Patrick has been part of this program, the lunar program, from the very beginning.
Yeah, it's been incredible and so exciting to see it sort of go from, you know, where it was, you know, nascent 2-3 years ago, and sort of where.
I mean, Rocket Guy, I think national team should be picked. Like, and like I said, I've been saying that for a real long time. Dude, you could do so much with this. You could do so much with it. You'd be stupid not to. With that, even like something like Northrop Grumman's transfer stage. The transfer stage that they're working on to get the lander from Gateway down to low lunar orbit, like even something like that is super useful. It's a little bit complicated. That's its kind of flaws. It's a little complicated because you have to assemble the lander. Think about like all the complications of building an IKEA desk but doing it out in space. So it has its complications. But where you trade that vehicle complication, you make up for in missions. You could do a ton of things with this thing. NASA's budgetary woes. Wouldn't Starship and Dynetics make more sense? King, honestly, if I'm picking, seriously, I don't really give two craps about the budget. I think it's hilarious that like, oh, let's, you know, get the best deal. No. NASA should get the best capability. And, like, I'm not just saying this to blow smoke up Blue Origin's tailpipe. The national team system is very good. It's very good. You can do a lot with it. So, okay, play this off your mind. All right? New Glenn launches the transfer stage and the descent element, right? Those go out to Gateway. They find each other. Then you launch an SLS, right? Block 2, or Block 1B, with the Orion and the Ascent module. And Orion tows the Ascent module out to Gateway, and Orion installs the Ascent module on the lander, and then you go down to the moon. That's really, dude, that's pretty good mission architecture. It's pretty damn good. Chief, 31-month resub. I think that's really smart. I think that's a really good way to do that. And it gets us more rockets, which I like that. I like more rockets. And that, King, that's not to say that Starship isn't a good idea. I think National and Starship should get picked. But once again, yeah, who knows? We'll find out soon. I mean, I'm not going to lie, MC. I like Dynetics Lander as well. Dynetics Lander is quite good. They ditched the drop tank idea, which is pretty cool from what I understand. Let me see that. Oh, that's cool. New FAA symbols for rocket launch areas, Crash. That's neat.
Shepard. And, of course, our landing sequence with all of the landing sensors. And the same thing where you were coming in from about 100 kilometers and autonomously landing in, you know, essentially also pretty rugged desert there. And so
National team and Dynetics for you. That's fair.
No, we have tested some of that lunar landing technology on New Shepard on previous flights.
I thought you were supposed to ditch drop tanks. I see what you did there.
A lot of their sensors, we were able to get terrain relative navigation sensors, LiDAR sensors for hazard avoidance.
Do you hear that?
All of these great sensors we actually
TRN on the national team. Why the window's so wide? It's a suborbital rocket?
Coming down and helping us.
It's for tourism, so you can see, you can look out and see when the thing goes up.
You know, loop it into the guidance system. It's great to be able to do it here. And actually, by the way, get the sensors back. Because as soon as it lands, you can just unbolt them, tweak them a little bit, put them back on. Try it again next
Why are we on hold? Don't know.
That really,
they never gave us an answer.
Shepard has been a test bed for many of our payload customers, but it's also nice to use it for our own technology. And again, between the the New Shepard Astronaut, human spaceflight tourism program that we'll be having coming up, plus our payload customers.
Forlorn, that's something different.
On board in several of our previous missions.
It's not Dianetics, it's Dynetics.
A lot of the technology
Dynetics is something different.
Transferred into lunar program, also New Glenn, etc.
That's something different.
Together, you understand just the value of this rocket that you see on your screen right now. absolutely has been critical and valuable not only to Blue Origin, but for many other programs out there.
That's right.
Okay, well, Patrick, we are at T-minus 10 minutes and 45 seconds to go. We continue to be in a hold here. Why don't we check out New Shepard as she continues to get ready for her flight to space.
So they've been in a hold for almost 30 minutes here. Will there be KSP later tonight? Absolutely, man. We got lunar missions to stage. We're at T-minus 10:45, as is tradition. Yeah, they do have a few more videos. They haven't showed the video with Jack Schmidt in it, and they haven't showed the pad video yet. So, we got a bunch more videos on tap. Isn't Crew 2 next week? Well, no, but actually, yes. Tom, is that a Humble Pie reference? Nice. Nice. ETA to the launch window closing. We got about, what is it, 3 hours, 3.5 hours? 30 days in the hole. I don't want to get DMCA'd. So see these big braided steel lines over here? Those are the oxidizer and hydrogen propellant lines. This is the ullage lines here, and it's probably nitrogen or helium with these ones. I'm not 100% sure. No, I'm good, Tom. Just got your stream. Can we talk about Blue Origin chat being toxic as hell? What do you mean? What do you mean, Magnus? How's it being propped up? Those 4 pillars? 1, 2, 3, and 4. How many people will be on the ISS? 11, if I'm thinking about that right, Orange Gamer. When, Bert? Soon. I suspect hydrogen. Why would they use hydrogen for tank ullage with a Hydrolox rocket coolant? That doesn't make any sense. Rockets use helium.
Joining us live for New Shepard's 15th flight to space. There is New Shepard on the pad, ready to rock and roll.
Pretty much rocket guy, yeah.
We continue to be in a hold while our teams are getting aligned. But while we've got a little bit of time, we talked quite a bit about the booster earlier. Why don't we talk about the crew capsule? We saw earlier today the crew rehearsal. They rehearsed all of those pre-flight operations, and we had 2 of our stand-in astronauts go inside of the capsule, do some communications checks with Capcom, etc.
Guys, I'm gonna give these.
But why don't we let you guys inside the capsule? Let's check out some of the features. So the capsule, like the one behind us here, has 6 windows, 6 seats. As we mentioned earlier, over 1/3 of the capsule is windows. So as we said before, you know, when you're up there floating in space, there's just so much window, it's going to feel like you are out there in space. The seats that you see there, those are in-house designed and tested. They're based off of a helicopter seat, right? Because helicopter seats, we want the ability through that scissor mechanism that you see there, and also that Gary brought up earlier, to take out any last-minute energy if necessary. You see there in the middle, that's our escape motor as part of our safety system to be used if anything wrong is detected with the booster. You also see the white padding on the walls. That's to absorb extra noise, so you get as clean and beautiful and
I like the RGB
get to experience
lighting.
as much of the silence of space as possible. So this capsule, when we're flying people shortly, I mean, it's as beautiful on the inside as what you're going to see on the outside. But I should note that when we designed the interior of the capsule, we did so to celebrate, if you will, the engineering that went into there. So you see there's not too many bells and whistles on it. It's really quite simple, so that the astronauts, when they're up in space, they can experience space, because that's what it's all about, right? All right, so we're at T-minus 10 minutes and 45 seconds to go. We've introduced you to the capsule. New Shepard is on the pad, continuing to get ready for her launch today. So why don't we check her out?
This is nice. What is that thing in the middle? It's a shield, copper? That the line in the middle that's separating the two hosts, it's a Perspex shield.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Hip hop anonymous. Ah, you gifted us up to Magnus. Yeah, Magnus, okay, guys, here's my thing. All right. There's fanboys and fangirls for different rockets nowadays, and you know, honestly, I don't mind that. I really don't. If that's the way people want to be, that's fine. You want to treat your favorite rocket company like your sports team, that's fine. I don't mind that. It's actually kind of crazy that we actually can do that nowadays, because when I was growing up, it was, hey, do you like the space shuttle? Yes or no? And that was it. That was it. Delta rockets, what are those? No. There was also Delta 2 and Delta 4 and Atlas. Atlas 3, actually. Dated myself a little bit. You know, I just always kind of found it funny. Why, like, people, I don't like this rocket. Like, people do that not fully realizing how freaking difficult
Discovery, go at throttle
this
up.
stuff actually is. This is not easy to do, and I applaud anybody that even tries to go about doing it. You know, I mean, it's not easy. This is difficult, man. So, I mean, I don't have any problems if you have preferences for, you know, said space flight company, like, oh, you like SpaceX, or oh, you like the SLS, or you like what Blue Origin's doing, or you like what ULA is doing, or Rocket Lab or something. That's totally fine. I just never felt it's a friendly competition, you know? I just never felt the need to be like, well, this is the best rocket, screw you guys. Like, that's just, this stuff is difficult. Guys, it's really tough. It's really tough to do. I applaud anybody that tries to take on the challenge, even if it is suborbital. I mean, this is tough. This is not easy to do. Yeah, nice W. Yeah, Sean, I know what you mean. Hawk, 22-month resub. Fun fact, my family went to see one of the last Atlas II AS launches when I was very young, but I obviously don't remember it. Yeah, It's not like brain surgery, though. Not like it's brain surgery, though. Yeah. So, I mean, once again, I'm kind of humbled that we're actually in a position where people are actually arguing over which rocket is better. It reminds me when I was younger and kids would argue over which baseball player is better. Like, who's better, Mark McGwire or Sammy Sosa? You know what I mean? Reminds me of that. It's actually kind of funny. So, hey, at least the demographic's big enough where people can actually be doing that. But yeah, I mean, I choose to really not be like, if we're streaming Blue, it's Blue's time to shine. You know what I mean? If we're streaming ULA, it's ULA's time to shine. I try to give everybody the spotlight equally. It's just SpaceX launches a lot, so we tend to cover more of those. You know, Smart Gear, 16-month resub. All those companies will be gone, and Soyuz will still be flying. It was Mike Piazza. Mike Piazza? No. Mo Vaughn, man. If we're talking 90s, man, Mo Vaughn, baby. Come on now.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Jim, 3-month resub. I'm hoping this button is the launch button. What's the program launching from New Zealand? Mantua, that's Rocket Lab with Peter Bick. Cal Ripken.
Watch New Shepard as she gets ready for flight today. We're just aligning our teams.
Rick Vaughn. Give him the heater, Ricky. Give him the heater. Yeah, Magnus, that's I've always been of that proponent. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought you were a space fan. I thought you wanted more rockets, not less. Colton, honestly expecting Russia to step up with a new reusable design. Look up the Amur SPG. They're working on it. They're working on a methane landable rocket, which is pretty cool. What's with the net on the pylon? Not 100% sure. The window extends until 3 Central, guys, so we got a little bit of time. I don't think Europeans have any idea what you're talking about. Nobody knows these sports that you mentioned. Okay. Hamilton versus Vettel. Or Vettel v. Alonso. Like, people argue about it like that. There's your reference. If you don't understand Formula 1, you can get out now. I'm just kidding. Looks like the final RS-68 to be produced was accepted by ULA 2 days ago. Shame. Didn't have to be this way. The F1 GOAT? Maybe childhood nostalgia is clouding my vision, but I think Schumi is the best. Schumi was friggin' ruthless. Schumi
or the flight director on Channel 1 and UHF Voice for the go poll for terminal count and launch. Capsule.
We release the hold. Here we go.
Booster. Go. Ground.
Fangio's good.
Safety.
Laudo's good.
Rander's green. Go.
But
Engineering.
we'll pause that. Pause that
go.
Conversation.
Capcom. This is the flight director. New Shepard is go for launch. Booster, commence the terminal count.
Righto, chaps.
Step 104.
About that time, eh, lads? Righto.
All right, everybody, we are go for launch. As we heard, we are at T-minus 10 minutes
Sounds right,
to go.
Caveman.
The countdown clock has resumed. Phew. Let's do it, Patrick.
I know.
That was, you know, we
I was shushing you, chat, not me.
To a launch, and certainly after today, you know, we are. It's just so important that we make sure that we walk through all the checklists, make sure that everything is right within bounds, and if we need to take a couple more minutes, you know, even 40
That's correct, Black Spotted Turtle. That's actually its purpose. It's a suborbital tourist rocket.
You want to have go fever. You want to do this right and by the book.
I like Senna.
I do want to say, I mean, can you imagine?
But you can't deny what Lewis has done either.
Right now,
he's good, man. He's a good driver.
No-go pull in your headset, and I think, at least for me, this is where it would have just completely broken out in goosebumps, just knowing that the
I am right now.
It would be so exciting.
All right, and now all eyes are on New Shepard. We're into our last-minute checks. They are underway as New Shepard comes alive to flight.
That's not the same.
We have just a few minutes to go before final checks, so why don't we take a moment and walk through the booster and some of its key features.
Jim.
We did a little bit earlier.
You did the trick.
Of similarities and parallels.
You
to
can't
New Glenn,
won't.
But let's focus on New Shepard. She really is the workhorse of the journey to space. As we mentioned before, New Shepard is powered by the BE-3 engine. That's essentially fueled by water, liquid oxygen, and liquid hydrogen. It propels the rocket to space and restarts for a controlled pinpoint landing on the pad. It's also uniquely throttleable, and that means it's able to slow the booster down to just about 8 kilometers per hour or 5 miles per hour for landing. And you can see at the top of the
I just want to watch
there,
a good race, Raja. That's the honest to God truth.
And the ring fin
Somebody challenge Lewis, please, for the love of God.
As well as the wedge fins. Wedge fins for stability. Drag brakes to really cut down
we got Imola
the speed. You'll see
this
those
weekend.
will cut down the speed in about, that will cut the booster speed in about half. The drag brakes are critical, right? We talk about the balance between the engine and the booster's role in slowing down the rocket, but really it's just some simple aerodynamics from the drag brakes. The aft fins, as you can see towards the bottom of the booster, stabilize the vehicle during ascent, but also steer it back to the landing pad on descent. And they're actually strong enough to guide the rocket through airspeeds of up to Mach 4. And you think we talked about earlier about the winds aloft. Those are critical, those fins, in making sure that we get our rocket precisely back to the pad. Lastly, we have the landing gear. So all rockets take off but not all rockets land.
I hope so, Adri. I hope
and,
so.
As a fully reusable rocket, the New Shepard booster uses landing gear that deploys just in the last seconds for touchdown.
That's right. I mean, this is an incredible machine. Kudos to Gary and the team that have spent, all this time designing it and getting it just right. And
I think so, Pops.
This booster design and all of the components inform so much of what we do here. We talked about the similarity between this and the first stage of New Glenn, of course, and the similarities there with the aerodynamics and the design. It's the same combination and the same derived engine for the upper stage of New Glenn, so obviously lots of design heritage there.
This weekend is
and
good.
We talked about,
Hang
of
on,
course,
rocket
all
time,
the great
guys.
learnings
Let's go.
we applied to our descent element as part of the lunar lander. So truly, you can almost think of New Shepard as a sort of that first path of the roadmap, and then it just branches out to all these other things that we've
Nobody's
done.
on it, man.
Exactly. And we should also mention the reusability element of it, which is critical, right?
Yes, everyone,
with our
that's too
vision of
far.
millions of people living and working in space,
Well,
we need the
it's
ability
daytime,
to
dude. You're not
turn
going to
the
see
rocket
it.
around
If
quickly.
it was nighttime,
Usually
maybe on a
can
clear
come down
night, but you ain't going to
costs
see it.
of access to
It's in the middle of the day.
All right, you're looking at a live shot of New Shepard on the pad. We are T-minus 6 minutes to go until flight. Why don't we take a look at her?
Agnes, I wish that'd be. Wouldn't that be something, man? It'd be a little loud, I think. Now, if you're at a moon hotel and you ordered a package, then it might come in on this thing, maybe. Will it be same-day delivery? Well, lunar days would, in this context, would last a lot longer. So yes, it would. In hockey, if you play empty net, do you think the extra men should be in goalie gear? That's a weird question to ask right now. No, I don't. I think you're moving the goalpost public? Yeah, well, I'll take my goalpost to the mac and cheese store. Thank you very much. I think that's how far they need to move it, because you didn't get mac and cheese. Whammy! Destroyed. We had an awkward silence going on. I feel like I should fill it. Oh, you want... Here. Alright, so we're at T-minus 4 minutes and 35 seconds here to the launch of the NS-15 mission. This is probably one of the last uncrewed tests that you will see from this rocket. Now, this is a suborbital rocket. It goes up, and then it comes right back down. This thing is designed for tourism. So it goes up, separates the capsule goes up into space, right? And then the booster will come back down, it'll deploy fins and speed brakes, and it'll come down, and it lands vertically. It lands on a landing pad, similar to other reusable rockets, right? Now, this one has been reused, and so is this capsule. This is the second time for both of these pieces of flight hardware. There's two main elements to a New Shepard rocket. There's the capsule up at the top, and then there's the stage right below it, the propulsion section. You can see a shot of the umbilicals here. This is the hydrogen vent line up there. You can see it's really cold. You can tell it's really cold because of the way it is. No, it's got a lot of ice on it, a lot of condensation. The liquid oxygen vent lines are over here. And the reason why the hydrogen is recaptured and scavenged is because you have to purge it. Liquid oxygen you can vent. Pretty sure nobody would care if nobody cares if you vent oxygen into the atmosphere. Hydrogen though, greenhouse gas. Don't want to do that. Hey, Flykin, what's up, man?
15th flight to space. We are at T-minus 3 minutes and 10
yeah, it's flown, dude.
G-Knock.
What up, player?
So for those of you that are just joining us now, earlier in our
I
show,
like the hum. I don't know about you guys.
Experience crew rehearsal. Very exciting.
Yeah, Flykin, it's flown. There's a crash
well.
test dummy in it.
And now we're ready for New Shepard's flight itself.
RSS,
so
reusable spaceship, Samba.
Minutes, the rocket is going to go into
how high will this go? Beastie, we're going about 380,000 feet that way. Or about 63 miles up.
The rocket itself
64 miles that way. Long way.
Of the launch pad. In just a moment here, we're going to see.
Where's this launch site? Van Horn, Texas. It's by El Paso. It's out in West Texas. It's out in the middle of nowhere.
We want to make sure that we can move the aerodynamic surfaces freely
All right.
so that they
Watch these things
just like
down
an
here.
airline pilot does before his or her flight to make sure they've got free range of motion. We also, at the top of the tower, of course, have the gantry that will also retract.
This should retract.
That's
it should
right.
go.
And Ariane, right there on the gantry, you see these big sun shields there. You know, one of the, you know, if you have 6 very large windows, like you said, and 60% of the capsule
What the
are
hell?
actually, windows by volume. Ah, there you go.
There
You
it
see
goes,
the
retraction.
Retraction right there. So we actually need the those shades there to just to keep the sun out of the capsule. We want to make the astronaut experience as comfortable as possible. We want to keep them in a nice, cool temperature.
It's fine, Flykin. I forgot about it, dude. I forgot about it 5 minutes after it happened, man. It is what it is.
Windows.
Don't worry about it.
So what our team did is
just
actually,
enjoy the launch.
Put these shades in. It makes it a great experience. And then you know, now if you or I were in there, we'd be looking out and just.
Ready for launch.
Yes.
Ready for launch. A simple but beautiful solution. All right, there go
Okay.
the aft fin checks. There are 4 of those fins. at the
About
base
80
of the
seconds
rocket.
out. The wigglies. Watch, they're gonna do it. They should be doing a piggly wiggly test
here.
here.
You see the nozzle peeking out of the base of the
Woo!
rocket there.
Woo!
There goes the gimbal check.
Whoa! They're doing thrust vector control checkout, making sure that the engine actually steers.
Engine
That's
gear,
kind of
course, is
important.
critical, but in particular as it's coming into.
That's cool. All right, 40 seconds. We got the wiggles.
And Patrick, that takes us to launch for a T-minus
Not
30
sure,
seconds.
Pops.
Why don't we hand it over to mission control for New Shepard's 15th
30
flight
seconds.
to space? It's gonna be worth the wait, man. Godspeed, New Shepard.
It's a little deflector. It's a little baby deflector, Flykin. This is a small rocket. Okay. Yeah, see, there's a little baby flame deflector in there.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Command engine start. 2,
okay.
1.
Ignition. T+6, stand by for separation. Go, baby, go! Yeah!
Discovery, go and throttle up.
And we have liftoff. Go, New Shepard, go.
The drone shot, though. That's
Beautiful
awesome.
Liftoff from our launch site 1 in West Texas. You can follow along as she gains speed in the bottom left corner of your screen. There's the speedometer, altimeter in the middle there.
Oh, I'd ride on that. That would be so fun, dude. I'd be enjoying every second of this. I'm gonna go over to the other side, guys, so you guys can see the telemetry, okay?
First milestone on our trip to space, max Q. That's when the dynamic pressure on the vehicle is at its maximum.
About 5,000 meters up.
The vehicle.
Going about, what is it, 800 kilometers an hour right now.
And max Q is
God,
confirmed.
I love it. I love it. America units. Oh gosh, this is great. So about 15 kilometers up, going about 1,000 kilometers an hour right now. Okay, crossing.
Right about this time in your flight,
25
on ascent,
kilometers
you're gonna max
here.
at about 3 Gs.
Going about 1,600
the max Gs that
kph.
you pull as an astronaut on New Shepard actually is on descent. So here on ascent,
Not
it's
as
about
if it was
3
a real
Gs,
launch
and
flight,
comes
and it
on
separates the
gradually
capsule
as you go
every time.
faster and get higher up there. Until, of course, main engine cutoff and separation, and that is when you get to feel those
I agree,
beautiful
human.
0 Gs. We're waiting for that here. Next stops, MECO and separation.
Okay, we're about 100, or no, not 100. We're 100,000 feet, 50 kilometers up, going approaching 3,000 kph right here. Okay.
Coming up here on MECO, main engine cutoff. So far, a clean burn from our BE-3 engine.
Okay, engine shutdown. Stand by for SEP.
There it is, main engine cutoff.
Hello?
All right, appears we have lost the link to the J-layer. So far, though, everything appears to be nominal. So far, what we have seen, a clean liftoff. We did have max Q, maximum dynamic pressure. That is essentially for the rocket the hardest point in the flight.
Whoa, what is this?
And then we had main engine cutoff. And now,
I've never seen this before.
Separation. Here we've got.
Okay, they got the capsule separation. We got
especially on the left
IR.
side. As you've seen earlier in the show, it is
quad
a
box me,
down
baby.
there
This
in
is
Texas,
sweet.
So we are going to rely on multiple
infrared is over
cameras
there.
here.
Regular is up top of the
As
top
the
left.
vehicle continues its ascent towards space. We have passed over just about here the carbon line. There it
yes,
is.
keep the infrared.
100 kilometers, or about 328,000 feet. If you were inside there, Patrick, you will have become an astronaut.
Yep, they're past the
And
Kármán
we're
line.
just waiting for the two craft to hit their apogee.
62
You'll
miles
notice
up.
apogee when the speed hits 0 in the bottom left corner of your screen.
I don't know username. Come on, guys, give us an onboard. Come on, guys, give us an onboard. Let's go. The Kármán line. No, the Kármán line is something different.
There it is, apogee just at about 346,000 feet. Of course, we're going to have official stats for you after the flight via Twitter, but so far so good, Patrick. Looks to be a nominal flight of New Shepard. You see the booster on the right and the capsule on the left. This is when they've begun their descent.
Okay, coming back down.
As we've seen in the past, obviously the booster is going to beat the capsule down to Earth as it's more better aerodynamically shaped.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Friction? No, Beastie Boy, it's just bigger, easier shape to spot, I guess.
And thank you again, everybody, for joining us live for New Shepard's 15th flight to space. We are 5 minutes into what appears to be so far a nominal flight for New Shepard. We, of course, proceeded the launch by
You only got a couple minutes of weightlessness.
A perfectly executed astronaut experience rehearsal. While there are no astronauts on board today, that was a critical step.
I mean, holy wake, it comes up and then it comes right back down, but you'd be in 0G right now. Well, microgravity would be the right way to say it.
All right, we've picked up our long-range cameras again. There you see the booster.
That's
the
the
bottom
first
of the
stage.
screen and the
Capsule's
capsule on
up
the
there.
top. At this point, the booster is re-entering the atmosphere. It means it's going to have air pressure against which those aerodynamic surfaces Patrick and I were walking you through can push against to guide the rocket back to its landing pad. And to think this rocket will have peaked at almost Mach 4, and it's by the time it touches down, it's just going to touch down at about 8 kilometers per hour.
A little bit flanking, yeah, but it's not that bad.
Miles per hour. So relatively speaking, a nice soft landing.
Man, that thing's coming in
Critical.
real quick.
We talked about reusability. The softer the landing, the quicker you can turn it around, right? You're not jostling the rocket. You're not jostling the hardware. You want to be able to flip it around nice.
Look at how fast
quickly.
it's going.
So there you see the aft fins. We also call them the pie fins because they're shaped like pie wedges.
Dude, what's that descent rate in feet per minute? How many feet per minute do you want? Yes. Okay, the brakes have been deployed.
Brakes.
Boosters,
and there you see
subsonic.
all the speed leading off of the vehicle and waiting for our BE-3 engine to relight. There it goes.
Oh!
Landing gear deployed. Oh, look at that smooth landing.
Nice! Nice!
And And touchdown. Welcome back, New Shepard.
Oh my God, what a beautiful landing,
I think
right?
that was one of the smoothest landings I've seen of this rocket. It almost
Nice.
looks unreal.
Right.
It looks like CGI. I know some of you on the internet seem to think that. Believe me, that is a reusable
Did you just say
rocket
that?
takes off and
All right.
lands. What a beautiful landing.
It looks like it's ready to go again.
Yeah, just, put in those
That was
drag
nice.
brakes, put in the wide fins.
Very
fuel
nice.
up. Let's go
It's not
again.
easy to do, man.
But
It's
until then,
really
the show is
difficult.
not over. We do have the crew capsule here. On board, we have Mannequin Skywalker, as well as a couple of payload lockers filled with...
Why did you
postcards
mention
from Club for the
that? I
Future
don't know. God.
From students from around the world. We are waiting to see the drogue chutes come out. They will be followed by the
Train
main
horn?
parachutes.
All right.
And a little wink from one of those big, beautiful windows. Look at that.
Mortar ignition.
There go the drogues.
Drogue shoot deploy. Trains.
And here
Main
come
chute
the
deploy.
mains.
Inflate. You gotta wait for the right
All
pressure.
three parachutes are out. We're looking for full inflation, and there they go.
Perfect.
I love that.
Perfect. You win. Nice.
So far, so good. A
Very
nominal
good.
launch, nominal landing for the booster. We're
Very
waiting for
good.
the crew capsule to come into land.
That's
We're
right,
at
Adama.
about 1,600 feet to go. And a nice, smooth descent at about 16 or so miles per hour.
Well, Sai, I'm gonna guess that Blue Origin is
Just
probably
at about
getting ready to
25
go.
or so kilometers per hour. That is a nice, smooth descent. There's the valley of our West Texas launch site. Launch Site 1, as
I
we
did
call
know
it.
that, Flykin, yeah. Hey, helicopter shot. That's pretty cool.
What a day so far, Patrick, let me tell you. Now, at 800 feet to go here, we should remind everybody that we do have the retro thrust system that kicks on just in the last moment. Basically, just
Oh, yeah,
creates
to
a
be
nice
honest, that
air
was a pretty cool
cushion
one.
for the capsule.
Dude,
so
the
that
drone shot.
hopefully, when you and I are up in that capsule one day, we are going to be getting a nice air cushion underneath the capsule.
Oh, that's sick. And stand by for the retro fire boosters. Perfect. Perfect.
And touchdown.
Oh, that was cool, man.
Absolutely spectacular. Patrick, I told you it was going to be worth the wait. Look at that.
Definitely. I love you. So you can just see it just as it lands. You see that puff of air and it kicks up all that dust, but it's just such
Right,
a
Phil?
gentle landing right there.
A beautiful
Very nice.
launch and landing for both the crew capsule and the booster. Team Blue, congratulations to all of you. What a day. You should be so proud.
The desert's not doing much good for the encoder, huh?
And
Oh,
again,
that's
Patrick,
so
soon,
cool.
if you're an astronaut,
Did you
on
see
board,
that thing come in,
that is
man?
gonna be
That
a
thing's
ride
freaking
of a
legit.
lifetime.
Yeah, no problem, Massa. I stream every
Cannot
rocket launch.
wait to
It's
check
good
out
stuff.
the onboard cameras to see the views that Mannequin
Yeah,
Skywalker
Tom, I'm with you,
had
dude.
today.
I'd ride it. That would be
Just
great,
check it
man.
out.
All the
That'd be
fun
great.
gets to go everywhere.
I know, that guy. Jeez.
Now to bring it all right back around, right?
Well, the landing looked a little bit rough. Believe it or not, it was maybe a little thump at best. The reason why it kicked up a huge cloud of dust, why it kicked up all the mesquite there, is because there's actually a rocket that faces down, and what the capsule does is that when it's like maybe a meter off the ground, right, it explodes at the ground. The bottom of the capsule blows up. I'm serious. That's how it works. And what it does is it's just enough to stop the capsule from hitting the ground at a high rate of speed, right? So it has a little retro rocket in it, and it only fires for like a second. It's like it explodes at the ground, and that actually gives you a little bit of a cushion right before it comes down and lands. There are other capsules that do stuff like this, but that's the reason why it kicked up a lot of dust. It looked like a much harder landing than what it usually is, than what it actually is. So yeah, that's why it kicked up all that dust.
It's super, psyched and worked up, as they should, right?
It boils off,
and then
T-Man.
same thing, as you just mentioned, when they come out of the capsule, it is,
Looked right to me,
we
drummer.
put them in, but then they come out again, and
Yes,
it's
like,
just
and they
this
will.
elation, and
Yeah.
to think,
That's
next
correct,
time,
QQ.
it's coming up soon, when we start, putting people in that capsule, you compound it with a launch to space and back. With a boat full of adrenaline, you better believe they are going to be absolutely psyched and ready to.
7 meters a second is actually really low.
Well, so
that's
the
pretty
recovery process is underway. It goes.
I know,
like
Masso,
this.
isn't it cool?
So, since the capsule has landed, we do have the recovery team.
Oh, there they are.
A couple of lead vehicles, safety vehicles, and of course our crew member 7. They are quickly traveling out to the landing site.
If the descent system doesn't work correctly,
if there are astronauts on board, is to ensure that the astronauts safely
fender
exit
bender
the capsule.
at best.
The astronaut families, as Patrick.
But they so Blue Origin in their capsule is using helicopter seats, and the helicopter seats. If anybody's flown around a helicopter, familiar with helicopters at all, they have shock absorbers for when if the helicopter hits the ground, it absorbs the shock. Helicopters are actually made with crumple zones nowadays, just like a car would be in a crumple zone. And part of that system to save the crew inside of the helicopter if a helicopter goes down is to be able to have the seats absorb the impact. Blue Origin borrowed that from helicopter design and put helicopter seats in here. So just in case that thing doesn't work, if the thing hits the ground, the seats will absorb the rest of the impact. So, I mean, they want to fly tourists on this. That means anybody. You can't have, like, the best of the best of the best, sir. It's designed for anyone that can afford a ticket. So, I mean, that's a wide variety of people. So you want to make sure this thing is as pleasant as possible, the whole ride. With honors.
What a great day. Actually, while we've got a moment...
Oh, come back now.
Why don't we check out some of the highlights from today's launch and
landing?
Why don't we? So we had New Shepard on the pad there. A nice ignition. And a clean lift.
Pretty fast crash. My lefty loves it. I have no idea why I'm here.
That rumble, you can see it in the cameras, and when you're down there in Texas, the
Watch
whole
this thing
valley feels like it's shaking when that 110,000 pounds of thrust.
You see how hot the flame trench got there? Holy crap! Hydrolox engine, sound a little different. I do, Masso. Yep.
And this angle, Patrick, this is one of my favorite angles. It's very reminiscent of, the Saturn
drone
V
shot
taking off from the pad during the Apollo days.
Absolutely, super, super reminiscent, super vintage look. Now this angle right here,
you see the flame trench light up? That's so cool.
But this is the cool thing about having these drones up there. You can get these beautiful shots of the rocket just
That's cool, man. I like the drone shot. I really do. Everybody should do
All right,
that.
here comes the booster back for its soft landing.
Yeah, the leg deploy looked fine to me.
Patrick, I think this is one of the smoothest, most controlled landings I've seen from this rocket.
You see that? That is really, really hard to do.
It's like it's just dangling from a string.
Carry on. Come on. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't hate that. Dude, that right there, just sitting there and doing that slow descent, that is so ridiculously difficult.
You can really sort of dial that.
Oh my goodness. I still can't believe that.
To the launch pad.
Exactly.
That's ridiculous.
Exactly. We're talking about we were talking earlier about the lessons that we're taking from New Shepard and pulling into New Glenn. That throttle ability on the engines is critical.
They did really good.
And then last but not least, of course, our capsule with a nice air cushion.
They have
landing.
Rivians? No way. Really?
And you can see actually the parachute's dropping pretty close to the capsule, meaning there's not too much wind there out on the ground today, which is beautiful. And now live shots from the recovery.
Oh, those are Rivians! No way! And a Raptor. Ferd!
Again, we're in preparation of bringing the stand-in astronauts back.
Yes!
And get them into the capsule so that we can practice the egress and taking out of the astronauts from the capsule. Again, coming to you soon. This has been such a critical step, this astronaut experience rehearsal in the march towards human spaceflight. Let's just take a look here. Setting up the stairs. It's a couple feet off. It's about a meter from the ground up to up to the hatch itself. So making sure they've got a nice, comfortable step out onto the desert floor.
I'm sure my heart would have been beating so
anybody else
heavily
getting a little
through
hype
this.
from this?
I might be a little wobbly on my feet coming out of this thing, just having been literally up in space like just a few minutes ago.
Just incredible feeling.
That's
I can
right,
imagine.
Maslin.
Cannot wait. 7 Kevin Sprogge there in the blue coveralls. He's done an incredible job, as well as Sarah Knights, our crew member 7. All right, some mission recap statistics here. These are unofficial. We will have the official ones after the flight. Maximum ascent velocity 3,600. Maximum ascent velocity 3,615 kilometers per hour. Crew capsule apogee.
They changed something.
Flight,
We're trapped.
6,021 meters. Mission
Just had a
start
little bit of
time
deja vu.
11:51 a.m. Central Daylight Time, and mission elapsed time 10 minutes and 27 seconds.
I'm gonna just give us a little bit of a refresh here.
A really cool swag from my shop, and you can go to shop.blueorigin.com to do that.
Plug the merch.
There's a lot of cool things out there. I saw the mission patch earlier. It has the the silhouette of the 4 stand-ins there. It's extremely cool. Yeah, there we go. I think Gary's the one on the left there.
Yeah,
maybe.
exactly.
I'm not sure.
Exactly.
But it's a cool one. I'm definitely picking up one of
Be
those.
sure to
right
like and
after
subscribe to this video.
Fantastic. So with
Wouldn't that be
Patrick,
something?
it is time to close out the show. Thank you so much for being my co-host.
Always my pleasure. Thank
A
you for having
wonderful
me.
launch, as I told you, worth the wait for all of you as well. Thank you for staying with us for the whole flight. New Shepard's 15th flight to space and back. Please follow us on Twitter and Instagram for all the latest updates. And please continue to stay safe out there. Until our next launch, as always, Gradatum Ferociter.
Well, that was nice. Nice way to start your day. Don't you think? Well, that was nice. Dude, I actually kind of want to go and look at that flame trench. Is that bad? Is that bad if I want to go back? I want to go back and look at a little bit of a replay here. I want to see that flame trench there. Really, Gaw? Huh. Hold on. Here, ye. All right. Let's just...
In the cameras, and when you're
All
down
right.
there in Texas,
All right, let's see.
The whole valley feels like it's shaking when that 110,000 pound.
Yo. Why did it burn so long before takeoff? Well, 117, what they do is they make sure that the engine is healthy before they let it go. You don't want it to malfunction right after you ignite it. That's why I wanted to see it. Look at the trench. Oh, that's so legit.
Is lit.
It's lit. Did you hear that?
Well, you can see it in the camera.
It's lit. Ariane Cornell, 2021.
Texas, the whole valley feels like it's shaking when that 110,000 pounds of...
Dude, that's so cool.
Underneath the engine.
I'd ride on this. Oh, yeah. Hey,
Patrick,
later.
This is one of my favorite angles. It's very reminiscent of, the
You can see the flame
Saturn
trench again from
taking
here.
off from the pad during the Apollo days.
Absolutely. Super, super reminiscent, super vintage look. Now,
Oh, that's so legit. It's very rare you get a shot like this where you look down into the flame trench. Check that out. Flame trench is glowing. That's cool, man. Actually might pick one up. Right on, dude. Right on. New plane is coming to Flight Simulator. What is that? Oh. Nice. No, nothing yet, TSX. Dude, the flame trench, though. It's, like I said, real rare that you see a shot from that. Look at how quickly that flame trench radiates that heat away. Just,
this angle right here is one you would
back
not
to cold.
have seen back in the Apollo days. But this is the kind of the cool thing about
Dude, everyone should do this. Yeah, it's relatively colder, Daves, I should say. Any thoughts on a range? I would guess 100,000 TSX. Just probably is like a base margin. It's probably more than that, but No, Mycon. I don't think so. Can I just see this one again real quick? I want to see the umbilicals disconnect. See, rockets always separate first and then disconnect the umbilicals second. You don't want to disconnect the umbilicals, right? While the rocket's still on the pad, because then if you have a scrub, right, then you have to send somebody out there and go and reconnect them, right? So they always wait. Well, most rockets do. Some rockets don't do this. They always wait. And then when the rocket pulls the umbilical up, it has a quick disconnect that just pops off. That's so cool. These things are connected to a pulley, right? The umbilicals are connected to a pulley, and there's a counterweight in here. And when this thing quick disconnects, right, the rocket is the only thing that's holding that weight on the pulley up in the air. So when this thing quick disconnects, right, there's nothing holding that weight up in the air anymore, and the weight falls down. And that's what pulls the umbilicals away. See that? Cool. Oh, looks like Pad got a little toasty right there. Little toasty. Imagine that drone shot of a Saturn V. Yeah. Well, it's stuff you don't see, Dingo. What's that, Joe? Nice picture. Thomas, what's that? Looks like Jack over at NASA Spaceflight got some really nice pictures. Let's see. Not bad. Not bad at all. Very nice. Yeah, Fatigue, isn't it cool? Yeah, Floating, that was good, man. Do you have to change out the umbilicals every time? No. You shouldn't have to. They should be okay, but they will be inspected. Every launch pad does that. They'll be inspected. They'll make sure that they're all right. But yeah, that was pretty cool, guys. Not bad. So, on to some Minecraft early hours. I think that's what we'll do. Does Blue Origin own that pad? Yep. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. That's pretty good launch coverage. Alright, so we're going to work on our Community City project and Shipyard project in Minecraft now. And then we got Space News a little bit later, where we'll probably rewatch some footage of the launch. And then after that, we got Kerbal. We have 2 missions on the docket for today. 2 Freedom 10 flights to refuel the transfer vehicle and refuel the lunar lander. So, yeah, still plenty left on this stream here. Let's go to the Community Shipyard project. This is the Survival Shipyard project. Then Space News. Then KSP. Wait, no Tarkov? That was a joke, man, to be honest with you. If we want to play some early hours Tarkov, maybe I'll consider it tomorrow. I'll consider it, okay? Just think if they did an update to Kerbal Space Program where you could do this in-game. Update? Should we tell him? Masso, I don't know if we should tell you. I land rockets in KSP all the time.